Hi, this is Stacy from PortaSwitch. PortaSwitch Maintenance Release 129 is now available. It lets you offer compliant emergency calling in the US with bandwidth. Is your emergency provider, gives your customers' employees control over their own PBX extensions, helps call centers improve customer satisfaction with the callback feature for call queues, and more. Let's look at what's new one by one. When a 911 call is placed, emergency services need to know where to send help, even if the call is interrupted or the caller cannot speak. PortaSwitch now supports this through the new module available in the Add-on Mart, helping you comply with US emergency calling regulations, such as Raybon's Act. The module connects PortaSwitch with bandwidth, an emergency service provider with 100% emergency dispatch center coverage across the US and Canada. When a customer or admin specifies an address, for example for an office, PortaSwitch validates and registers it with bandwidth. When a user then dials 911, PortaSwitch routes the call to bandwidth with a reference to that registered address. Bandwidth looks up the stored address and routes the call to the appropriate public safety answering point with the caller's location. If a phone line does not have its own address, PortaSwitch automatically uses the office or company address instead, so there is no need to assign an emergency address to every phone line individually. To use bandwidth for emergency calling, you need an active subscription to the corresponding Add-on Mart module and an active bandwidth account. The Cloud PBX Healthcare Portal lets your business customers manage their Cloud PBX and call center services independently. Until now, portal access was limited to administrative roles, PBX admins and call center supervisors managing company-wide settings. Now, individual employees can access the portal too, with their own credentials and the personal view scoped to only their own extension. Once signed in, employees can configure call forwarding, access call recordings and voicemail messages with their transcripts, view recent call history, and set their availability to receive home-group calls. Routine extension changes, such as changing the call forwarding hours and destination phone numbers when traveling overseas, no longer go through the admin. Employees can handle them directly. To offer this feature, you need PortaSwitch Maintenance Release 125 or later, and Cloud PBX Healthcare Portal version 8 or later. Long queue wait times lead to abandoned calls. With this PortaSwitch release, call centers have a callback option for their queues. After a caller has waited in the queue for a configured time, for example 60 seconds, when the queue is full, or an agent does not answer within the ringing timeout, the caller hears a prompt offering them the option to request a callback. If they accept, they confirm their number and hang up. When all callers ahead of them have been served and an agent becomes available, the system automatically calls them back and connects them to the agent. This feature is available in the Cloud PBX Healthcare Portal via the Add-on Mart, or you can implement it in your own portal using the PortaBilling API. You can now configure multiple notification thresholds for each bundle item. For example, notify customers when 50, 80, and 100% of their data or minutes have been used. Previously, you could set just 2 notifications per bundle item, one when crossing a consumption threshold, and another when the item was fully consumed. This feature helps you meet regulatory requirements in markets where notifications at multiple thresholds are mandatory, such as South Africa, and gives customers more warnings before pay-as-you-go rates apply or the service gets restricted. When a vendor introduces a new phone prefix, you need to add matching rates to all related custom and reseller tariffs to ensure correct charging, including individual tariffs with negotiated prices. Previously, that meant editing each tariff manually, one by one. PortaSwitch Maintenance Release 129 lets you add a new rate to multiple tariffs in a single operation using the new bulk tariff change tool. For example, our telecom provides call services to Philippine phone numbers for its US customers. When the Philippine mobile operator is assigned a new prefix, the vendor sends our telecom an updated price list, and our telecom admin updates the vendor tariff in PortaBilling accordingly. Now the admin needs to add a rate to 150 customer tariffs. Otherwise, calls going there will be charged not as calls to a mobile operator, but as calls to the Philippine landlines. To ensure accurate billing, the admin opens the bulk tariff change tool, specifies the new prefix, select the existing prefix to copy the pricing parameters from the corresponding rates, reviews the list of affected customer tariffs, and confirms the bulk change. PortaBilling immediately creates new rates across all 150 customer tariffs, so calls to new prefix are billed correctly right away. You can now configure web password expiration separately for different customer classes, instead of applying one system-wide policy to everyone, including customers and resellers. This way, you can balance security requirements with customer convenience. For example, large enterprise customers with strict corporate security requirements can be assigned a one-year policy, while for smaller business customers, you can configure a more relaxed 3-year policy to reduce the frequency of password changes for self-care portal access. Mobile apps, such as a self-care app or a soft phone that use the PortaBilling API for authentication and data retrieval, can let subscribers log in with their username and a one-time password, without needing to remember or update a regular password. In this case, account authentication relies on an API token, a persistent credential stored on the account in PortaBilling. With this release, your admins can enable token-based authentication for any account that needs it, directly from the account pages in the web interface. No API calls required. Those are the highlights for PortaSwitch Maintenance Release 129. For a more detailed description of these features and enhancements, see the link to the documentation in the video description below. Before we wrap up, if there is a feature you'd like to see in a future PortaSwitch release, head over to wishlist.porta1.com. Here you can submit ideas, browse what others are asking for, and vote on the features that matter most to your business. The more you vote, the more our roadmap reflects what you actually need. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next release!